All right. Thank you, everybody. I'd like to call to order the Administrative and Finance Committee. Today is Wednesday, July 2nd. It is 5:30 p.m. First order of business will be the call of the roll call here. My name is Mike Mielke. I am present. Kathy Lohndorf,
Here.
Stephen Knott.
Present.
All right. Sounds good. We are all here. We are also joined by a bunch of people from city staff, as well as our alders, Larry Jurassic and Diane Wolf. Next item will be item number 2, which will be the consideration and action on minutes from the previous meeting.
Move to approve.
A second.
All right, we have a motion by Stephen to approve. It's been seconded by Kathy to place the meetings on file. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next item is 3, public input. So we'd like to limit our public input to 3 minutes per individual. Please state your name and address when you come up. Is there anybody that would like to give public input today? Second call. Third and final call. All right, public input is now closed. Next, we'll move on to item 4. This is a recruitment update from Human Resource Director, Amy Franzen. Amy?
Good evening. As you can see before you, we did fill 2 positions in June. And that leaves us with 1 regular vacancy remaining. And then I'd like to include just an update of where we are midway with our number of hires. As you can see, we have a number of seasonal hires and we continue to recruit for those ongoing positions as well.
Thank you. Any discussion? Anybody have any questions? All right, we'll move on to item number 5. This would be an update to policy 4.10, the fitness room policy, and I'll be handing this over to Amanda, or are we just talking about it?
No, I can jump in. So we recently, as you're aware, updated our fitness room downstairs. It looks very nice. And so with that update, we thought it would be a good time to review and update the fitness room policy. And so just quite a few changes actually, when you look at the whole thing. But just kind of going through and setting forth what the rules of the fitness center are. Also, it's open to alders if any of you would like to use it. We are going to have it be accessible 24/7 since it will be a fobbed room sometime here in the near future. And then just sort of clarifying a few things related to what is allowed and what's not allowed. Still going to have a liability waiver form. We lawyers like that. And then just sort of the system to how to report things. What you can't see along with this form or with this policy is we have some new updated forms that Rebecca put together for us that I think will make a lot of this also easier on employees. And so just kind of, I don't think this had been looked at. Let's see here. Well, probably in 2014. So just needed some updating.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Stephen. It's been seconded by Kathy to approve. Any discussion? I guess from my understanding, just like you said, it's pretty much just cleaning things up. But yeah, looks great to me. So we'll take a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. On to item 6. This is the Class A malt beverage and intoxicating liquor license application for Noble Hotels LLC, doing business as Spark by Hilton, located at 9409 State Road 16, from 7/9/2025 until 6/30/2026.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Stevens, been seconded by Kathy. Any discussion? Not hearing any, we will take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. On to item number 8, appointment of agent for alcohol licenses. We have 2 of them today. We have item 8A, Mayor B. Patel. Oh,
You missed number 7.
Did
I
we
am
skip 7?
sorry.
It's okay.
Jumping ahead here. We will go back to 8 later. On to item 7, this is the Class B malt beverage and intoxicating liquor license application for K&K LLC, doing business as Tasty Thai, located at 235 Sand Lake Road, from 7/9/2025 until 6/30/2026.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Steven, it's been seconded by Kathy. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, now on to item 8, the appointment of agent for alcohol licenses. 8A is Marabhi Patel as agent for the Class A malt beverage and intoxicating liquor license for Noble Hotels, doing business as Spark by Hilton, located at 9409 State Road 16. And 8B is Cao Chang as agent for the Class B malt beverage and intoxicating license for K&K LLC, doing business as Tasty Thai at 235 Sand Lake Road.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Kathy, it's been seconded by Steven to approve. Any discussion? Not hearing any, we will take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. On to item 9, amendment to Class B malt beverage and intoxicating liquor license for Onalaska American Legion, Post 336 at 731 Sand Lake Road for Saturday, August 2nd, 2025. This would be for Onalaska Community Days to include outside grounds.
Motion to approve.
Move to, second.
All right, we have a motion by Kathy. It's been seconded by Steven to approve. Any discussion? I guess I just have a question. Do we have any, there's no issues with this, with the city for liquor license being outside the Legion, right? Okay, everything's fenced off, so yeah. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. On to item 10. This is the amplified device permit for Onalaska Community Days at 731 Sand Lake Road for bands to perform on Saturday, August 2nd, 2025 until 11 p.m.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Steven. It's been seconded by Kathy to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. On to item 11. This is the cemetery columbarium fees. Jared?
Thank you. This one might take a little longer than the last two.
Yeah.
In your packet tonight, I have included a memo regarding the cemetery columbarium proposed fees. The project is commencing currently. The contractor's working on site improvements actually as right now. The project, we are anticipating to hopefully have everything installed by September sometime and have it operational yet this fall. So it was prudent to bring it forward and propose some fees and some different things, the decisions that need to be made. I have a variety of materials in your packet tonight. We have consulted, Kevin's also here. He's worked on the design, is working on the construction phase of it right now. So he's been involved working with the columbarium supplier on a variety of topics, including engraving and how everything's laid out. Also consulted with public works staff, in particular Reed Carey, who's does our cemetery duties. He has reviewed this with me to go through it. So I guess with that, I'll kind of just start with the memo and kind of go from there. And the memo's on page 27 of your packet tonight. We're anticipating the completion in September 2025. We are looking at a price structure for each niche, which would be one space within the columbarium. There are 96 spaces that we will have for sale in the columbarium. So if you go to page 28, we have outlined a picture of the columbarium, and we are proposing within the memo tonight for a graduated pricing depending on where you're at. In talking to and looking at other columbariums in a variety of areas. Actually, we took a road trip, year and a half ago now, to a variety of local places that had columbariums. Mauston, Wisconsin Dells, a couple of different ones in Mauston, have looked at La Crosse and things. So we've gotten a pretty good Purview of the prices, they range from 1,500 to 5,000, depending on what area you're in, what amenities come with the niche in the columbarium. But as you see tonight, we're proposing 2,400 for the top band, 2,400 for the middle band, 2,200 for the band second from the bottom, and the bottom band 2,000. Our columbarium that we ordered is a little bit unique in the fact it's going to have an ossuary in the middle. So an ossuary is a combined resting place that we will put ashes into, and then the ossuary band will have a smaller area engraving. So that's the reason the ossuary, we're proposing a $700 cost with that. We will be charging for the engraving at the time of engraving. We are currently looking at using our provider, ICOF, who is providing the current columbarium for the engraving. We will be working through that as we get closer and trying to ensure we've got that figured out. Just for information, each niche is allowed to have 1 or 2 owner-provided urns inside. There's a maximum size. Obviously, if you have 1 urn, you can have a larger urn if you so choose, but if you want to put 2 in there, there's only so much room. Going down through, there was a variety of actually, if you go to page 29 and look at the shop drawing for the columbarium, on the upper left-hand side, you can see some engraving for, it would be 2 different niches that would have had occupants in them. It's really hard to see, but that second band down is the ossuarium memory band. You can see it's much smaller font, and each person will only get 1 line with a name and date of birth and date of death. And then in the plan view, when you look at on page 29 in the bottom left, you can see where the ossuarium, where the cremains will be in one community resting place inside, sealed inside the columbarium. So we did look at a variety of the different templates for the names to be put on the niches. On page 30, you can see template number 3. That is the one that we are recommending to go with. One thing to note is that if you go with template 4, they have to do the whole line of engraving at once. They cannot do, like for instance, this one says Thomas J. Braddock. They could not do November 24th, 1900, and then come back later and do the March 12th, 1995. That would not be possible. So with template 3, you can actually put in the date of birth before the date of death. Then page 33 shows the memory band. That would be what it would look like for the ossuarium interments. They would get their name plus a date of birth, date of death, just a year, not a date, but a year. With that, we would only have that engraved every 1 to 2 years. So it would be as we would be filling that up, we would make one, send that panel in as it starts to fill up. And then page 34 was possibility, they do have a emblem library so that you could put emblems on there. And then the inscription pricing, the current inscription pricing. Hopefully the memo kind of outlined what we're proposing. We will be working to put those into the fee schedule at some point, but I guess we're open for comments and if there's any questions with what we're doing. Kevin, do you have anything to add to the? Okay, so I guess with that, we'll open up for questions. We're, as a side note, we are excited to have the project going, and I think there's been a lot of public input out at the cemetery, seeing it get started and wondering what's going on. So I think it's going to be a very valuable addition to our city cemetery.
Thank you.
I have a couple questions.
Go
Hello?
ahead, Steve.
Okay. First off, I'm really hurt that Texas is represented on those emblems, but not Wisconsin. Yeah.
Steven, we're having a hard time hearing. Can we turn it up just a little bit? It's
I'll
okay.
take it off speaker. Is that
Oh,
better?
Yep, that's better.
Okay, I had it on speaker. Okay, no, I was just making a joke. I said that I'm hurt that only Texas is represented on emblems and not Wisconsin. But so on a serious one though, any more thought given to if we're going to be putting these new fees with this new option for burial of what percent we're going to maintain within the cemetery maintenance fund? Because I know that we just talked in the past about that was going to not be viable long term if we didn't change.
So I have not, we have not made a decision on where the funds from the columbarium sales will specifically go. I know I've talked with the finance director about this briefly. I would hope that we would designate some of the funds. So the next time that hopefully we get this columbarium is full with 96 purchased niches, we would have the money in the capital improvements account to purchase the next one. So in our master plan, we had approximately 1,000 niches in the master plan. And so we're only doing 10% right now. So we've got future growth potential there. There's actually, we're putting in one of the 3 nodes at this time for the columbarium. So we are charging more than what we have into the construction, but my feeling is that should be for perpetual care of the unit and perpetual care of the cemetery. So I don't know if Sabrina has any inclination on what she would like to see.
Are you good if I talk?
Yeah, go ahead, Sabrina.
So my recommendation would be at least 50%, that we'd put at least 50% of the sales into capital for future purchases of another columbarium. If not more, I know we would come forward with a resolution for that to be able to move those dollars.
What percentage should we keep for the perpetual maintenance fund?
I think right now we do 20. I think 20%
And
goes
it-
into
yeah.
perpetual care. And
I think for the graves we
Is
have
it-
now, I think it's 80-10-10. It's 80% toward operations, 10 toward perpetual care,
you're right.
10 toward capital improvements. So I would like to keep a lot of the sales for the columbarium, as Sabrina said, into the capital improvements and perpetual care account. Hopefully the grave sales will keep up with our operating budget, and then we can be padding the building a fund balance in the perpetual care account and still have enough capital improvements funds from 50% that we would be able to have enough that we'd be close to anyway funding the next columbarium. I don't know,
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going with what we have to have this discussion on. And I mean, it's probably premature, but it's something I'd like to hear back on, because I know this was probably about a year ago. This last came up, I think, that the perpetual care fund, it's kind of just paying as we go right now. It's not gonna. My understanding is when the cemetery does eventually fill, that because we're not keeping enough percentage into that fund, that we're going to have to dip into the budget for the city in order to pay for maintenance. It won't actually pay for itself, which was the plan. So I have no problem with, going with like a 50% into the capital improvements, but I'd be looking at maybe 30% or more of this coming back into the perpetual care fund so we can try to make that healthy in the future. That's where I was kind of going with this.
I think if I had a recommendation, I would go 60% capital improvements and 40% going into the perpetual care fund. And then we
There
can
you go.
we can always re-look at that. So, we can see where we're at, but I don't know, Sabrina, does that seem like a fair proposal?
Yeah, I think that's feasible, especially since we borrowed for the current one to continue to fund the capital would make the most sense.
Okay, well, I know what's on the agenda now is the approval of the actual fund structure, but at some point we'll probably have to put on the agenda what percentage is going to go to what, unless we can do that tonight. I don't know if that's possible or not.
I think it's probably part of the fee where we're gonna put the fee that we're discussing, but
Yeah, I think that's
Okay.
within the scope of what's on the agenda, if you want to include that in the motion.
Okay.
Has a motion been made?
No.
Okay. I will move to approve the proposed fee schedule with an understanding that 60% of all revenues from sales will go towards the capital improvements fund for future expansion, and that 40% will go into the perpetual care fund.
I'll second.
We have a motion to approve by Alder Knott. It's been seconded by Alder Lowendorf to approve. I do have a question for Jared. On the fourth row on page 27, it shows the price of 2,300. And then on the fourth row on the page 28, it shows 2,200. Which number are we going with?
oh, yeah, it's just the memo should say 2,200. We changed the prices within the last month about 6 times, so I do apologize for that. But the latest one is the picture, the diagram that has labeled 623.25 with proposed columbarium pricing. That is the final pricing that we proposed.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I just want to be sure I had. it
No,
right on-
no, that's a good, thank you. Like I said, we changed them around a few $100s trying to, we also looked at this, and this is one that will be a work in progress. So we may come back in 2 years and be like, the whole bottom row sold out because they're the cheapest and nobody wanted to pay more. They didn't care. But then seems like everywhere we saw there was a premium pricing for being at eye level, and
Yeah,
just, otherwise, we just seemed like everywhere we went, nobody wanted to be on the bottom.
yeah, no, it's totally fair. I think and I appreciate all the research you all have done with this because it's really helpful for us for you to have that in there. So we do appreciate
Am I
it.
back?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So
Hello?
you're back.
Yeah, okay, I dropped you. So last I heard was the correction on the 2,200 versus the 2,300, that the outline is correct and that the memo should have said 2,200. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, and then I dropped you, and I didn't hear anything else after that. So
Alder Wolf?
I couldn't tell that you were looking at me. Thank you. Sorry. So I just, Jared, I think I have 3 questions. You mentioned ICOF. So they would be the ones, I guess 4. They're the ones who would be doing the engraving.
The way we presently, ICOF will engrave, we might try and find a local engraver, but we really want to stay with what, the product that they're supplying, and for sure, once we start with an engraver, we're not going to switch. We want to stay consistent. So I don't want to say never, but we're still looking at options. But right now I would propose or recommend that we go with ICOF to do the engraving.
Okay, thank you.
And one of the things that I liked about them is they have an online portal. So it's a kind of an added service where we could then get almost like a shop drawing. We get something that people can approve. So that's part of the reason also.
Okay, thank you. My next question is the intent to bring like the pricing and have it looked at every year like we currently do the cemetery?
Yeah, this would be a part of the fee schedule. So every year we would look at what we're pricing out, depending on what the sales are and everything. We've typically rotated years between grave openings and grave sales
Mhm.
on our costs. But this would be one we'd probably, especially the first few years, I would envision the first few years we would discuss what we sold, what we've done, and where we're going.
Thank you. My next question is, are there any other symbols that would be allowed, or is it kind of case by case system?
Only the ones that are in their library, but they do state in there that they are adding to their library, not all the time, but they are adding to their library as they see a need. I
Okay,
think it's gotta be off the library though, right, Kevin? Yeah.
okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mayor Kim?
I have not set the sell date yet. We might have to have a lottery for the first, we might have to have a lottery for the first people that get to go in, so. Or get to, for sales, but I'm hoping if we can approve all of this and then get it ready, we've got to work with the clerk's office and making sure we're prepared for sales at some way. And we've been discussing how we're going to set up the recording procedure and everything. So it's going to take another month yet, but I'm hopeful we'll be having sales before we actually have it available. No, it's scheduled for the end of August to be delivered, but obviously we want to, so.
Jared, as far as the urns go, is this something that when they purchase this spot, they get the urn, or they're buying the urns on their own?
They will have to have their urns themselves, so they will get them from their
Yeah.
provider that's doing the cremation, or they can get them from another. But that'll be part of when we sell them, is making sure people know that they can only have such, they're limited on their size. 'Cause
Yep.
Obviously, we don't want someone to show up and then not be informed that they can't place it inside the niche without coming back.
Yeah, that was my concern. It's just
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
but I'm assuming when they purchase something like this, there will be instructions on that.
Correct. That's part of our sales protocol that we've got to work on also.
Okay. Kathy, do you have any questions?
I think so.
Do we have any other discussion from anybody else? Do we need to change, do we need to amend on this page with that 2,200?
It just that it's clarified that the memo should say 2,200, not 2,300 for the fourth row. And we are going with the proposed columbarium pricing as outlined on the picture dated 6/23 that is on page 28 of your handout.
Okay, thank you, Jared. With that, we will go to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. On to item 12. This is a new ordinance 1826-2025 to create Division 3 of Chapter 1 of Title 3 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Onalaska relating to municipal vehicle registration fee. Ma'am.
So this is the ordinance that we discussed at our special meeting in June related to that municipal vehicle registration fee. The fee will be $25 per vehicle in the city of Onalaska. It will generate, about $400,000 in revenue, I think is what we calculated, rough estimate. We had discussed in that meeting, having it take effect in November. So if this is approved at the July council meeting, then I will give the DOT the 90-day notice that is required to enact the fee, and then the fee would begin to be collected on any new vehicle registrations as of November 1st of 2025.
Thank you. I guess, first off, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by myself, Mike Milky, and it's been seconded by Kathy. Any discussion on this?
I actually had something. I was kind of went back and forth after we had our special meeting and we discussed this. Just because, honestly, I really despise having to renew my license plates every single year, and adding another $25 is kind of whatever. But and mostly because it doesn't seem like a lot of municipalities in our specific area are charging them. But I did a little research and it looks like at least 33 municipalities in Wisconsin are charging them, and they're all about the same price.
Mhm.
So that said, I think that I've changed my mind and I'll approve it.
Sorry, we already had public input.
Ma'am, I
We had-
understand, but this is not a public hearing and you can't talk right now.
We have a meeting on Tuesday. We have a council meeting on Tuesday, ma'am. And we would like you to come to that and speak. It'll be 7 o'clock on Tuesday next week. So, and we'd appreciate your feedback there. Alder Milky. Yep, Alder Mike Milky. I'm just mentioning that, yeah, so we'd be happy to hear from. Yep. Thank you, ma'am. We look forward to seeing you next week. Any other discussion? All right, not hearing any, we will go to a vote. All those in favor to move this to council next week? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, on to item 13. This will be ordinance 1827-2025 to create section 11.04.21 of Title 11 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Onalaska related to the purchase or possession of tobacco products and nicotine products. Amanda?
Yeah, so this is an ordinance change basically to catch up with federal law. So federal law changed a few years ago and raised the minimum age for the purchase or possession of tobacco products from 18 to 21. While state law has not caught up, federal law would still dictate this age. And I know the county has been really pushing education on this. And so since we did also tie our last ordinance to 21, sort of related to similar products, we felt like it was a good time to bring this one up to 21 as well.
Move to approve.
I'll second. We have a motion by Stevens, been seconded by Milky, to approve. Any discussion? Not seeing any, we will go to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. On to item 14, ordinance 1828-2025 to amend section division 3 of chapter 4 of title 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Onalaska related to meetings, public notices, residency requirements. Amanda?
Yeah, this was something that we had talked about back towards, I think, just before reorg. So March, April of this year, in the sense that we have, especially on a few committees, had individuals that have been very longstanding chairpersons. And while we do appreciate that, it sometimes becomes hard for other people to become chairpersons, or maybe they're a little nervous. And so when there's no reason for the chairperson to change, then we suddenly have people that have been the chair for maybe, a decade or more. And so there was some discussion at the council level that the council thought it would be good to sort of try to get other individuals to be chair, and also to sort of not let any one person monopolize that position on a committee, commissioner, board. And so it was one of those where there was no hurry because it won't go into effect until reappointment next year. So we just had some time this month, so we put it forth this month.
Thank you.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Alder Knott, been seconded by Alder Lohendorf to approve. Any discussion?
Just that I think 2 years makes sense because that coincides with our elections. So I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, and that ends the administrative portion. We will now move on to the finance portion. Item 15 is the 2025 General Fund Center financials. Sabrina.
Thank you. So in your packets tonight, starting on page 43 is the general fund financials. The first 3 pages being the balance sheet for the general fund. Then following behind that is the budget report for the general fund. If I can draw your attention to page 48. The percent remaining to hit our total budgeted revenues for May 31st of 2025 was 22.35%. As of May 31st of 2024, we were at 28.33, so slightly ahead of where we were at in 2024. Then going through in regards to expenses, if I can draw your attention to page 60, page 60, the total year-to-date expenses are $4,783,543.05. As of May 31st of 2025, we have 60.41% remaining of our budgeted expenditures. As of May 31st of 2024, we had 62.72% remaining The main difference there is in 2024, we had our 3-month or our biweekly payroll. The month that we had 3 of them was in either June or July, and this year it was in May. So that's why you see a slight difference. Otherwise, we're right on track of where we were in May of 2024. The only other thing to note, interest income still is looking good. Rates are still pretty high, as sitting around 4%. So our interest income looks really good through May of 2025.
Thank you, Sabrina. I will move to approve and place on file the 2025 general fund financials.
I'll second.
All right, we've got a motion by Alder Milky. It's been seconded by Alder Nolandorf. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. On to item 16. Again, this will be for the 2025 Omni Center financials. I'll pass this over to Sabrina.
Thank you. So next in your packet on page 61 is the Omni Center financials. Again, first starting with the balance sheet. Then if I can draw your attention to page 64, this shows the budget report for the Omni Center. Through May 31st of 2025, we have 54.3%, 39% remaining to hit our total budgeted revenues. As of May 31st of 2024, we were at 47.85. Still feeling confident in where we're at with the Omni, just within discussions with Dan and Justin. Then if I can draw your attention to page 66, our total budgeted expenditures percent remaining is 52.02%. As of May 31st of 2024, we were at 52.91. So right on track of where we were at in regards to expenditures in 2024.
Thank you, Sabrina. I will move to approve and place on file the 2025 Omni Center financials.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Alder Milky. It's been seconded by Alder Lohendorf. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. On to item 17, the discussion and implementation on fire protection assessment fee and discussion on the possible action on consulting funding. Who wants to start with this one?
You-
Assistant Chief? Assistant Chief Southworth is going to speak right now.
Thank you. Page 67 of the packet is a memo from Chief Fleddy that kind of piggybacks the discussions at the June special council meeting in regard to the fire protection assessment fee. And in order to continue to move the organization forward, we will have to find a long-term funding source to make that happen. And in order to make that happen, we feel it would be in our best interest to hire a consultant so that the fee structure is fair and equitable that gets implemented. Any questions, I guess, in relation to that specifically? So Chief Fleddy's memo is looking for, I believe, approval to secure funding to move ahead with the fire protection assessment fee. He currently has it into the 2025 budget, finding those funds. There has been some discussion with the finance department of some other options possibly, so.
Yeah, Sabrina, do you want to speak right now?
Yeah, if I could, I definitely agree that it is likely in our future, the fire protection assessment fee, and something that we should continue to look into. But I would recommend that we budget for it in 2026 and we come forward to the council with this $30,000 included in either the account number that is listed here or even in a separate account line that would be for the study. It would be really hard to get this RFP out there and do all the work related to implementing this fee and have it done before the end of the year. especially with the other fees that we are implementing for 2026. And then we're also implementing a new ERP system, and there's just a lot going on. So I think our best interest would be to push this into 2026 and then implement a fee potentially in 2027, depending on what we would hear from the consultant and how that would affect the public. That would be my recommendation.
Thank you. Mayor Kim?
I just want to add my voice with Sabrina's and say that, well, I do think we should continue definitely pursuing this option as well as others. I don't think we should continue to try to push to get it done in 2025 because there's just too much work to do. And then to try to rush into a solution is not going to be for the benefit of all. We definitely should have this as a budget item for 2026, 100%. But to try to do it in 2025, I think is just going to be too much for everyone and for staff. And then having unknowns for the 2026 budget is also creating a lot of difficulties for staff that I don't think are always fully expressed to the entire council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
And I can follow up with that too. Chief Letty and I had a conversation this week as well. We've been kind of playing flip-flopping on vacation time. So we had a chance to catch up and we understand, the stance that it is a short window. We do believe that it would be a bit of a rush to do this in 2025. So we are also in favor, I believe. Without trying to make it sound like we're backing off of the fire protection assessment fee because we fully believe that this is an avenue that we have to go down, that we are okay with it being funded in 2026 with the intention, I believe, of implementing the fee in 2027. I say that 26, doing the study, and 27, implementing it.
I have a question. Actually, I
I
think
need
it's mostly for Sabrina. Am I good?
Go ahead. Do we need a motion right now or can we keep discussing?
Well, so here's where it is a little bit weird in the sense that if we're just going to let this go and budget for it in 2026, then we're actually not going to have a motion. I mean, I guess you could direct staff to include it in the budget for 2026, but otherwise, basically you could just, the discussion is that you want it included in the budget for 2026 and there would be no action taken tonight, which would essentially kill it.
Okay.
So my question, I guess, is knowing that this was supposed to help offset the proposed hiring of 6 full-time firefighters under that grant, is it financially feasible for us to continue with the grant without continuing with the study now? Like, I know they kind of go hand in hand, but I know we're also on a time crunch. So obviously we want to get the most out of this for our consultants too.
Yep. I submitted the grant this week, but prior to submitting the grant, Sabrina and I sat down for quite a bit to run numbers. And I believe that the finance department feels comfortable in the event that we were to get the grant for the 6 members to be able to fund that in 26 with the understanding that we would be implementing the fee in 27 to carry it forward from there on.
Okay.
But Sabrina could, yep.
I mean, and Sabrina can jump into, I mean, that would be a separate conversation. So if we get the grant will come, and basically to accept the grant will come back to council. And
Yeah.
so at that time, we would discuss the funding options for it.
Okay.
I just have a quick question. So I know we're kind of looking to hire a consultant in 2026, but with the time crunch of it being, if we start this in January, do you want to start looking for it ahead of time? Or is that something that we can't do? I guess I'm just curious. I know we want to budget for it, but should we be thinking about who we'd be looking at? I know we used Baker Tilly in the past. I guess that's just a question. Sabrina?
I think we could start writing the RFP. So then it would be ready to go. And we could send the RFP potentially in December or January deadline. She's saying no. I listened to the attorney. Or send it on January 1st and review in February and then move forward and have the rest of the year to work through it.
Okay. I just want to make sure we have ample time to do it and, hire a right firm and not just be, strapped to getting somebody, I just want to make sure we get somebody good. So, Mayor Kim?
I mean, part of my opposition is I don't want to have staff trying to get this RFP and this whole other project done when right now they're trying to get the budget ready. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that and they need to have that ready to hand over to you in September or whatever it is. So just to not have multiple projects going on overlapping.
Yeah, that makes total sense. It was just out of curiosity.
We can, I mean, we can work on the RFP in 2025. So as Sabrina said, you know, it can be something where it's like ready to go as soon as 1/1. And so, I mean, depending on, you know, how many people we feel are going to bid on it, I mean, we can have a pretty tight turnaround on an RFP. So we could have a consultant up and running in the first quarter of 2026 if needed.
Okay.
And I also feel confident. We just did our entire facility and staffing study in less than 6 months. And so I would hope that this would be a much less cumbersome evaluation and should be a much quicker turnaround.
That's a great point. Any other discussion on this? So do we just want to table it or what? I guess what, do we just move on?
Yeah, we would just take no action and then you would just move on to number 18.
Okay. Do we have any other discussion before we move on? All right, not seeing any, we will move on to item 18. This is resolution 15-2025 for amending the 2025 equipment replacement budget for Badger Books.
I can,
Sabrina?
so in last month, this was approved to move forward with the purchase. This is just kind of the formal process of moving the money in the equipment replacement fund. Since I've started, Amanda and I are doing many more resolutions related to the budget than maybe were done in the past. I think we would wait until the end of the year. But I do like this better, or when we make the change, we do it right away. So this is just the formal process of moving the dollars for the purchase of the Badger Books.
Move to approve.
A second.
All right, we have a motion by Alder Knott. It's been seconded by Alder Lohendorf to approve. Any discussion?
Just confirming this is the voting machine that we discussed. Yes,
Yes.
the check-in. Yep. Okay, thank you.
All right, not seeing any others. We will take this to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. On to item 19. This will be adjournment.
I motion to adjourn.
I will second. We have a
Second.
motion by Alder Lohendorf. It's been seconded by Alder Milky to adjourn. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. I'm gonna say the time right this time. It is 6:17. Thank you, everybody.